Today's video is sponsored by Native Sons Goods, makers of the highest quality woven guitar, bag, and camera straps you'll ever see. Native Sons straps are handmade one at a time in the USA with unparalleled love and care. Click the link in the description to check out their new expanded lineup featuring all new 3-inch guitar straps. And remember, when you support my sponsor, you support this channel, and I sure appreciate it. Hey, how's it going, good people? Brad the Guitologist here. In this video, we're going to take a look at this Marshall 1987 clone. And in the process of fixing this thing, I damn near burned the house down, so this will be a fun one. Well, this one is, like I said, a clone, and you know, you are always kind of hit and miss with clones. You never know what you're going to get. This one looks like it's made pretty well. The logo's peeling off there. Also, I think somebody added an effects loop to this, and that might be part of the problem too. This might be the one that I was thinking about where the guy said he was having problems with the effects loop. But anyway, it looks like it was kind of bodged in as well, so we'll have to kind of see what's going on with that. All right, so here's the rear of this amp. You can see I'm having a beer today. I don't drink a whole lot of beer, but when I do, I drink an India Pale Ale. I drink some hipster bullshit. This is a Great Lakes Brewing Company. This is actually a really good freaking beer. I'll probably have this one again. Anyway, yeah, so this here's the rear of this thing. The effects loop that was installed, and you can see kind of there by the switch. You see how it looks like somebody just like burned a hole through the plexi to get that switch in there? That just looks a bit budget. You know, maybe that's the only way that they had to do it, but it just really kind of looks a bit budget. Also, you know, you could easily tell that those, you know, that's not the same kind of work that did this, you know. So I think that was added later, and the rest of this thing was built by a pretty competent tech. Somebody, I mean, it looks great. Everything looks really sharp. All of the corners and everything looks sharp on the Telexing. They used, you know, the right kind of louvered, you know, grill. The same stuff that Marshall would have used. They did not put a ventilation on the top, which, you know, it's debatable whether or not that's even necessary. But yeah, just overall a really nice looking amplifier. The customer complained that he was playing this. It started to lose power, kind of started to get a farty sort of a tone, and then it just lost all power. Blew, I think he said, one of the fuses, but it doesn't have either of these fuses in there, so it might have blown both fuses at the same time. My guess is there's something probably either wrong in the power supply, or one of those output tubes are red plating or something of that nature. They were probably a matched pair, but you see the one on this side over here on the right, that one has all of its paint still fairly red. It's fairly cherry red on the paint. But this one over here you can see has just been really grayed out. So that tells me that that tube right there was probably a lot hotter at one point than that tube on the right. And when that happens, that's usually a good indicator that something's off in the bias. One of those tubes probably shorted, or something, you know, something similar to that, or began red plating. Something's going on most likely with the bias of those tubes or the tubes themselves. So we'll check that out. Let's go ahead and pop open the chassis and see what we could see. Like I said, both of these fuses are going to have to be replaced before we can really do anything with it. But let's definitely open it up and check it out. All right, here we are inside this thing, and the customer said that this is a Metropoulos built Marshall clone. It's basically a 1987 Plexi, and it's well made. The only change I think that was done probably aftermarket would be this. This is an effects loop, and it looks to me like that has been put in after the fact, because you can tell, you know, it's been labeled differently, and somebody actually burned through the Plexi to get that installed. Which I don't know why they just didn't drill it. That seems really strange. Anyway, but yeah, that does look aftermarket to me. But the rest of it is really, really well done. You can see they used all Sozo caps, which have a good reputation. They're expensive reputation, but they're good. There's an F&T cap right there. The other capacitors out here, those are CE distribution, the generic made in Taiwan ones. You can see we've got a solid state rectifier over there, bridge rectifier. That's an all-in-one unit. It looks like it's installed really well. Everything is just installed really cleanly and really well. You can see everything's been done nicely. Nice ground rail right there. Everything's installed. Everything's isolated. All the inputs as you would like to see. You know, there's the bias pot, and bias circuitry and everything is over here. Yeah, we got 1K 5-watt resistors there, and they don't look cooked or anything like that. Although that one's a little bit brown. That one's a little bit brown, but not bad. I would say they're fine. I'm going to go ahead and measure them anyway, just in case. But I'm sure they're fine. It takes a lot to mess up one of those. But yeah, everything just looks really good. I think this was built in 2012, if that's the date. I'm sure it is. But yeah, just everything looks good. Good build, I would have to say. Yeah, if you're in the market for a Marshall clone, I mean, it looks like Metropoulos makes good ones to me. Like I said, I think this is aftermarket. He was wondering about this, about whether or not this was going to take away anything of the tone or anything like that. Well, it does have an on-off switch here, so probably not. If you have this off, it's probably taking it out of the circuit, I would have to imagine. So he's probably not going to lose anything there. Let's go ahead and stick some tubes in, and we'll dial it up really slowly, start to get some readings. And we'll see where we need to dial it into to get the bias correct. He thinks also he might want to put a master volume on this while I have it. So when we install that, we will probably install it right here, which is going to be the bottom input on channel 2. So we'll convert this into a master volume if that is indeed what he wants. I just emailed him to see if that's what he wants me to do. And if that is what he wants to do, then that's where we'll probably end up putting that. Because I mean, I could drill a hole back here on the back, right about there, and it would probably be okay. It would, I guess, well, it'd have a hard time clearing the board unless I put it right over here. So I could put it here in between the two output sockets. I guess that would be an okay spot. If he wants it on the back, I could do that, but right there would be a good spot to put it if we want it on front. Then he would still be able to plug into channel 1 and be able to jumper his channels. He could come out of this one and go into channel 2, the top one, and have his master there. So yeah, I'll probably hold off on that, but for now at least, let's pop some tubes in it and start getting some readings. Okay, here we go. Ready to fire this thing up for the first time. We'll dial it up slowly on the variac here. Okay, so there's our halfway stopping point. Everything is drawing very low current. We're only at 0.2 amps on the entire thing. 14 watts. It's starting to creep up a little bit. 255 volts right there, about halfway up. That's about what I would expect. Easing up a little bit now. Probably starting to get a little bit of conduction on the tubes. Curious what the bias is looking like here. Negative 21, negative 21, so we're good there so far. About 300 volts right there. I do have sound at the output. It looks rock steady right now. Judging by, you know, the stated symptoms, it just seems like it's output tubes. I don't see any issues. Neither one of them seem to be red plating or anything like that. We're not running away on our power. If something was red plating, we would see this wattage rating right here just start to go up and up and up. It would start to run away, and it's not doing that. Tell you what, it's quiet. One thing I am going to do, and I think I forgot to do, I think I forgot to match impedance on the output. Let me go ahead and do that. So let's do that again, but with the matched impedance. I mean, it's not like that was going to really hurt it or anything. It's just that we'll get more accurate readings if it's matched. Okay, there we are at our full 120 volts. 435 volts on the high tension supply. That should be what's going into the plates as well. I'm going to measure the current draw. Okay, 0.0422. It's probably going to be 42 milliamps. I will double check that to make sure that that resistor is dead on, but that should be probably about 42 milliamps, I would imagine. I'm going to go ahead and just write that down, 0.0423, and let's also do the other one, 0.0408. Ah! Fucking hell! What the fuck? Holy shit! What the fuck was that?
Fucking hell. What the fuck?
Hey, did you know we're in the spirit world?
What in the fuck was that? Holy fucking shit. Dude, the fuck? Oh, it just melted the fuck out of that. Oh boy. Well, that was exciting. Did you see that? Okay, so what happened right there was I was trying to measure from pin 3. I was trying to measure from pin 3 and it jumped. An arc formed between pin 3 and pin 2 momentarily, which was really scary and interesting. Man, my heart's still kind of beating fast after that. Whew. And it also melted the end of my probe. My probe end melted and got bent, twisted sideways, and just snapped off. So there goes that probe. So man, I guess it's my fault. My hand slipped and did probably momentarily bridge the 2 pins. Okay, well, let's try that again. I don't think anything was damaged. I think it was just, it was scary, but I think the only thing damaged was my nerves. Let me make sure that tube is still lighting up. Yes. Okay, good deal. So that, yeah, so what happened was the plate actually arced over temporarily to the filament. I want to get a measurement of the plate voltage, and I think that probably will settle down slightly. It's at 437 right now. I was measuring 434 earlier on the high tension fuse, so it's probably going to settle down to about that. Yeah, that's probably close enough. We'll call it 434. But everything does work and is stable. I mean, which is not surprising, given that this is not a very old amp. It's very well made. You know, nothing seems to be burned on the inside. I think it was just a case of some bad tubes that couldn't handle whatever stress or strain was applied to them. So I don't think it's anything that's going to happen again. Okay, so I'm reading 0.039 or thereabouts. So 0.039 times what I say 439 volts was about what we had. So yeah, 17.1 watts of plate dissipation. That is under the 70%, or just under the 70%. That's about where we want that, so that's good. And that is, of course, assuming that the little 1 ohm resistor from the cathode to ground is pretty much spot on. I will test those in just a second to make sure that that's the case, but assuming that's the case, then that's exactly where we need it to be. So the bias is done. New power tubes installed, and that's all it was. We just had a problem with the other power tubes. I can't find any other issues with this right now. I can turn the effects loop on and off, and it doesn't do anything. There's no problems there. So that's good. We've got a couple of new fuses in there. The only thing left to do is to install the master volume. And again, I think we're going to put it right here where one of these inputs are whenever he gives us the okay. So yeah, and after that we will give this thing a test. Okay, so there's the master volume installed, and I installed it in the same way I've installed a master volume on another Marshall amplifier recently. And if you guys want to know how this was done, I can refer you to that video. But essentially, you come off of these points right here, and And this is the phase canceling style, the style number 3 that I've used here. And you can see the shielding is grounded over to there, and I've got a shielded wire running over to this 1 meg pot, and that's essentially it. That's all there is to it. So fairly simple fix on this. It wasn't really much of a fix at all. It's just change tubes, rebias, put a couple of fuses in, and add an additional master volume. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this. We'll go ahead and give this thing a demo, but this is my first experience with Metropoulos built amplifiers, and I have to say I'm fairly impressed. Good build, solidly built, and everything is very well wired. Again, I'm not sure if this board over here is original or not. I'm fairly certain it's not, but I can't say 100%. So I can't really vouch for that, but it does appear to be working okay. And yeah, let's give this thing a test.